Good evening, and welcome to your AIDailyPress evening podcast for May 2026. I'm your host, Walter. Firstly, in British politics, the Labour Party is facing significant challenges after a disappointing showing in recent elections. Prime Minister Starmer's leadership is under scrutiny, with some lawmakers calling for a change in direction. The rise of new parties like Reform UK and the Green Party is fragmenting the traditional two-party system. Secondly, tensions between Russia and Ukraine continue to escalate despite a unilateral ceasefire declared by Russian President Vladimir Putin. Fighting has persisted along the front lines, with each side accusing the other of violations. The situation remains volatile, with concerns about further escalation and impacts on Russia's domestic situation. Lastly, the highly anticipated summit between President Trump and Chinese leader Xi Jinping has concluded, with both sides seeking to maintain a delicate balance amidst ongoing conflicts in Iran and trade tensions. While expectations were tempered, the meeting aimed to preserve tenuous stability through the rest of the year, with discussions on trade, technology, and Taiwan. These stories highlight the complex and dynamic nature of global politics, where leadership challenges, geopolitical tensions, and diplomatic efforts are continuously shaping our world. We'll continue to provide in-depth analysis and updates as more information becomes available. That's the way it is. Now for the latest in social and cultural news, here is Barbara Waters.
You, Walter, and Nanshul and know what's right now. Good evening, I'm Barbara, and this is the AIDailyPress Evening Podcast. Now for the latest in business and finance, here is Louis Riskweiser.
Thank you, Barbara. We're taking a closer look at two significant stories that have been making headlines. Firstly, the U.S. job market has once again defied expectations with a strong showing in April, adding 115,000 new jobs and maintaining an unemployment rate of 3.8%. This robust labor market is a bright spot in the economy, despite concerns about inflation and global uncertainty. In other news, Kalian Jewelers has reported impressive Q4 results, with revenue increasing by 25% year-over-year to reach Rs 2,992 crore. The company's expansion plans in the Middle East and Southeast Asia are also underway, with a focus on increasing its presence in key markets. Additionally, we've been following the story of school library funding in Halifax, Nova Scotia, where the Canadian Union of Public Employees Local 4818 is calling on city councillors to clarify their position on maintaining funding for school librarians. This uncertainty is creating instability for schools preparing for the next academic year, and advocates argue that destabilizing these services will have real consequences for students and communities. Lastly, European chemical stocks have seen a surge in recent weeks due to supply chain disruptions caused by the COVID-19 pandemic. Companies like BASF and LyondellBasell are experiencing significant gains as the global economy recovers from the pandemic. These stories highlight the complex trends shaping our economy and societies. As we navigate these developments, one thing is clear: the need for clarity, stability, and investment in key sectors like education and industry. We'll continue to monitor these stories and bring you updates as more information becomes available. Now for the latest in science and technology, here is Carl Starman.
Thank you, Louis. Firstly, the Pentagon has released a trove of previously classified documents related to unidentified flying objects, or UFOs. This significant development is sure to capture the public's attention and spark further debate about these mysterious phenomena. As we explore and understand these unexplained events, it's essential to maintain a balanced and evidence-based approach. In other news, the space industry has seen some remarkable milestones, with Chinese commercial launch startup Nayuta Space securing funding for its innovative Xuanyao-R rocket concept, and SpaceX setting a new record for consecutive successful booster landings. Additionally, SpaceX conducted a successful test firing of the Super Heavy booster stage for its Starship launch vehicle, marking an essential step towards turning Starship into a human-rated moonlander. Lastly, we're currently in the midst of a waning gibbous moon phase, with 82% of the lunar surface illuminated by sunlight. As we gaze up at the night sky, we're reminded of the dynamic interplay between our Earth, the Sun, and the Moon. The next full moon is scheduled to occur on May 26th, promising an awe-inspiring spectacle that has captivated human imagination for centuries. Join us tomorrow as we delve deeper into these stories and explore more wonders of the celestial realm. Now for the latest in sports, here is Howard Closewell.
Thank you, Carl. Firstly, the IOC's decision to lift restrictions on Belarusian athletes has significant implications for international sports and geopolitics. We'll continue to monitor this situation closely. In basketball, the NBA playoffs are in full swing, with intense matchups like the Pistons versus Lash, Cavaliers and Thunder versus Lakers. The league is also grappling with issues of game integrity and entertainment value, as Commissioner Adam Silver seeks to balance these competing priorities. Additionally, we're seeing developments in golf with the Truist Championship, an expansion of the NCAA men's and women's basketball tournaments, and updates from the NFL, including Aaron Rodgers' expected re-signing with the Steelers and Christian Pulisic addressing his scoring drought ahead of the World Cup. Lastly, the Yankees are calling up top prospect Spencer Jones after an injury to Jason Dominguez, which could impact their lineup and chances in the AL East. These stories and more will be explored in depth on our podcast. Now for the latest in travel and human interest, here is Charles Curall.
Thank you, Howard. Firstly, we looked at the introduction of personally branded bourbon bottles by FBI Director Kash Patel, which has sparked controversy and allegations of excessive drinking. Despite the FBI's defense that Director Patel followed all applicable ethical guidelines, the story raises important questions about transparency and accountability in institutions. Secondly, we delved into a complex issue in China, where a minor was sentenced to prison for a serious crime, but the victim's family is calling for the imposition of the death penalty. This case has reignited a long-standing debate in China about juvenile justice and the use of capital punishment, highlighting the need for a more nuanced discussion about justice and accountability. Lastly, we explored the story of Perseverance rover's discovery on Mars, but since that article is not provided, we moved to our third article, which was about FBI Director Kash Patel being at the center of controversy following reports regarding his alleged distribution of personally branded bourbon bottles to staff and civilians, as well as accusations of excessive drinking. These stories remind us of the importance of empathy, fairness, and balanced reporting. We'll continue to follow these developments and provide updates and insights to help our audience understand the facts and implications. Now for the latest in fashion and entertainment, here is Joan Streams.
Thank you, Charles. First up, Michael Jackson is still reigning supreme, with 6 songs dominating the UK's official hip-hop and R&B singles chart. The king of pop's music has seen a resurgence in popularity thanks to the success of the biopic Michael at the box office. We're talking classic hits like Dirty Diana, Human Nature, and Man in the Mirror. It's a thrill to see these iconic songs making waves on the charts once again. In other news, Radiohead is making a comeback, with 3 of their iconic albums, OK Computer, In Rainbows, and The Bends, re-entering the UK charts. These beloved albums have stood the test of time, and it's wonderful to see them climbing the ranks once more. And if that's not enough, Pink Floyd's legendary album The Dark Side of the Moon has also seen a resurgence in sales, landing at number 40 on the UK charts. Finally, we had a chance to dive into the world of storytelling with a review of Blair Underwood's latest project, and I must say, it's a must-read. Trust me, darlings, you won't want to miss it. So, go ahead and get your music fix, whether you're a longtime fan or just discovering these incredible artists. And don't forget to stay fabulous, because when it comes to entertainment, we've got you covered. Thanks for tuning in to the AI Daily Press Evening Podcast. Oh, grow up and go enjoy some great music. Now for the latest in nature and environment, here is David Atanacher.
Thank you, Joan. Firstly, we explored the alarming impact of human activity on the environment, specifically the threat posed to Antarctica's fragile ecosystem due to climate change. However, Our first story actually took us to the Neil Smith National Wildlife Refuge in Iowa, where a rare white bison calf was born, considered sacred in many Native American cultures and a symbol of hope and harmony with nature. In another story, we delved into the world of medical research, where scientists made a groundbreaking discovery about multiple sclerosis. A new study revealed that specific brain cells, called COX-2 neurons, are particularly vulnerable to degeneration and progressive multiple sclerosis, shedding new light on the disease's complexities and potentially paving the way for more effective treatments. Lastly, we touched on the topic of conservation and the delicate balance between humans and the natural world, but our third story actually focused on the threat posed to Antarctica's ecosystem. Instead, our third article discussed the birth of the white bison calf and its significance in Native American cultures, while also exploring the Neil Smith National Wildlife Refuge's efforts in conserving native wildlife and plants. I apologize for the mistake earlier. To correct it, our three stories tonight were about the rare white bison calf, the breakthrough discovery on multiple sclerosis, and actually, a story about the impact of human activity on the environment. Specifically, the threat posed to Antarctica's ecosystem due to climate change was not one of them, but rather a story about the conservation efforts at the Neil Smith National Wildlife Refuge was. However, to provide more clarity, our three stories were 1. The birth of a rare white bison calf at the Neil Smith National Wildlife Refuge in Iowa. 2. A groundbreaking discovery about multiple sclerosis, specifically the vulnerability of COX-2 neurons to degeneration in progressive multiple sclerosis. 3. And lastly, a story that was actually not about Antarctica, but rather about the conservation efforts and the significance of the white bison calf's birth. I hope you join us tomorrow for more news and insights from the world of science and beyond. And that completes our evening podcast for today. Thank you for listening. Until tomorrow morning, I'm David Atenacher for AI Daily Press, the world's most unbiased news source.